I would just note there's a typo in your name, but so my apologies for that. Middle initials indicated wrong. But it does reference this case number.
When was this letter?
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Like
Buenos
I said,
días.
I've been
Ya
on
estamos
watch,
aquí.
so I haven't been able to obtain any mail whatsoever. Not from the course,
Gracias. ¿Sí se escucha bien?
not anything.
¿Todo bien?
So that was signed on Friday and then sent.
Todo bien,
over.
¿verdad?
I'm not sure if it was
Déjenme,
emailed
¿sabes
or if
qué?
it was just delivered to the
Claro,
jail. I don't know if
permítanme.
Madam Clerk has any information. It was done by my other clerk. But in any event, you have it before you. What I can tell you, sir, is that normally search warrants may be sealed for a period of time. All of these warrants were set to be unsealed previously, but due to the pretrial publicity and the
Buenos días, ya me
various orders
escuchan.
related to the jury, including the use of the jury questionnaire, I had, at the request of the parties,
Buenos días, buenos
and with the
días.
consent of
Vamos
all
a empezar.
parties,
Ahorita acaban de
sealed
entrar.
or continued the
a
seal
la
on all
corte.
of these documents, and the previous order indicated that everything would be unsealed either November 30th or at the conclusion of the jury trial, whichever came first. Of course, the jury trial is now concluded, even though the case hasn't gone to sentencing. So my intent would be to unseal everything tomorrow, unless you have an objection and it's based in law.
I have, like you said, this is my. I didn't even know that this was even sent over to the jail until right now, until you told me.
Recordemos que él ya fue condenado culpable. Ahorita estamos en la última etapa del juicio. ¿Por qué no se escucha?
As it relates to this case.
From what I saw, everything's been pretty much public.
Dice que lo que él ha visto es ha sido totalmente público.
Unsealed at this point, everything's pretty much been public already.
Y que bueno, en este momento, en este punto, ya todo ha sido pues exhibido públicamente.
The clerk's office is instructed that first thing tomorrow morning they may unseal all of the search warrants in this case. The next issue I want to address.
Dice la siguiente cosa que quiero aquí comentar para los
as it relates to the restraints that the Sheriff's Department utilized during this case.
Son las restricciones
by Mr. Brooks when the jury was coming out the very last time.
Cuando el jurado estaba aquí la última vez.
You said something about a stun belt or shackles or something to that effect, but it was inaccurate. I have asked the Sheriff's Department to provide photographic documentation of
que le pidió al sheriff que le proporcionaran documentos para esto.
The tables look a little different now because
que ahorita movieron también las mesas, se ven un poquito diferentes.
All defense tables in the secure courtroom, there is
y en este cuarto
ring. It's really more looks like a rectangle that is attached to the leg of the table, and an inmate who's in custody but in trial.
Porque parece ser que él estaba necesitando custodia y por eso también movieron como que la apariencia de la corte.
Attached to the table so that it confines the inmate to a small area with that table. Obviously, during the trial, Mr. Brooks was able to stand.
Dice, obviamente, durante el juicio, el señor Brooks tenía oportunidad de estar también parado.
The photographs that have been provided are on a compact disc. They will be filed.
Las fotografías que han sido exhibidas se van a poner todas también en un disco.
And that is because of the security concerns
y esto es por la seguridad. Tienen problemas, tienen como
secures inmates during a trial.
O sea,
that
tiene
certainly
como
is an overriding
algunas
interest,
preocupaciones por la seguridad,
overriding any public interest to see what those restraints are.
porque tiene
And I would just further
restricciones,
note that
obviamente,
during the trial, when Mr. Brooks would be brought from the holding area into the courtroom,
porque lo
this
tenían que
courtroom was
proteger
closed to
cuando lo
public,
traían de la parte donde él
and that
estaba
was
esperando
really
hacia la
to
corte.
maintain that, privacy,
La cara
if
de
you
él así
will,
como
or
bien escéptico,
secrecy,
como
if you
que
will, regarding the restraint system. And so I believe it's important that that information not be released to the public.
y ella dice que
It
pues
will
es
be available,
importante
of
que
course,
esta
to the
información no
court
se haya dado a conocer al
attorneys.
público por
And if there
seguridad,
is an appeal, any attorney that may represent you
que
can
porque como
certainly look
él
at
no
that.
tiene
It'll
tampoco ningún
otherwise
tipo de abogado que lo
be under
represente.
seal. So
Why would
the
that-
record is very clear on the restraint system that was utilized during this trial.
I have a question to that.
Okay.
Dice, tengo una
Why
pregunta.
why is that remaining sealed, but everything else being open to the public?
Que porque
As
eso no ha
Indicated, my
sido
reasons
como
are on the record. I'm
que
not going to restate
como que
them.
abierto al
So,
público,
I
porque
think-
ha sido
I think
restringido
that
esa
the
información al
public,
público.
if they're allowed to see search warrant information and things like that, then I think that they should know that it was a shock device on my ankles. That
There was no shock device
It
on
was
your
a
ankle,
shock
sir.
device. I was
Dice
told
que
it
él
was a shock
tenía un
device.
Mr. Brooks,
como si
And
tuviera
that's
it
un
why
was
I'm
covered
making
up.
the
It
record.
was covered up by a black cloth, so
que tenía
the
como
jury
un
purposely could not
dispositivo
see
él
it, and
en
so
sus
that the
cosas.
public cannot see it. I was told that a chair had to be placed on my side so that
Que
no
porque
one
como
could
que
see
le
that I
pusieron
was
un dispositivo
shackled
a
with
escondido,
ankle
algo así es
shocks.
lo que parece que
I
estoy
think the
entendiendo.
public should know that. The jury should have known that. That's what they were.
Mr. Brooks, I've made my ruling.
Dice, señor
I
Brooks,
respect your ruling, but it
ella
should
le
be-
está
it
diciendo
should be
cosas
noted.
ahorita que tal vez él
It
no
should be
sabía.
noted.
Noted for the record.
Dice, lo tengo que
It
decir
should
por
be
los
noted
récords,
that
pero
I
no
had
se,
a
no se
shock
podía
device
hacer
on my
público por,
ankles.
por una
That's
razón
fact.
como de
It is
seguridad.
a
not
fact.
a fact, sir.
It is a fact. I'm the one that had them on my ankles. I inquired about what they were. Obviously, I'm going to require about what's being put on my body. I was told
Dice,
that they
obviamente
were a
yo tengo
shock
que saber qué
device,
fue lo que se me
which
puso en
I
mi
know how a
cuerpo.
shock device looks.
Si hay
because
algún tipo de
I've been
dispositivo
through this
que
before in Milwaukee, so I know what a shock device is. It was clearly a shock device that was
dice que
purposely
él
not
tenía
shown to the jury
como un
or to the
dispositivo que le
public.
podía dar en caso de que se
Purposely
pusiera, yo creo que
And then now you're
agresivo,
saying
así
that it's
como
going
que
to be
raro,
sealed.
como
Well, why should
choques,
it be sealed?
como eléctricos.
The
All right,
public
Mr.
doesn't
Brooks,
deserve.
you're-
The public deserves
You've
to
made a
know.
record.
Dice, el
The
público,
public
el
deserves
público merece
to know
saber
about,
qué está pasando con
things,
esto.
things pertaining to a search warrant, but not the fact that I was limited by a shock device.
Dice
That
que
if I
porque
moved
pues
the
el
wrong
público
way,
también se
I
merecía
could've got
saber
shocked
que
with
él
all this
tiene
voltage.
o traía
Absolutely false
un
that you had a
device
shock
Not
device
false,
on,
and
sir.
you know that
de
it's not
choque, ¿no?
false.
Así.
Well, I have the photograph
Well, show
that will be
where's
part
the
of the record.
photographs? Where's the
Dice, ¿dónde están las
photographs?
fotografías?
And they
You
will
just
be
said they would be
sealed
sealed. Why do they need to
from
be
¿Vieron que
public
se
view
sealed?
cayó algo?
Why
for
do
the
they need to
reasons
be
that I've
sealed from
already
the public?
indicated.
Why do they need to be sealed
Mr.
from the
Brooks, I
public?
need to move on to
Ay, yo
scheduling.
decía que se
Can we
cayó,
move
pues se
on to
cayó mi
subject matter
nombre.
jurisdiction that hasn't been proved for the record?
All right,
Ay,
so
Dios,
we
qué
move
miedo
on
me
to
dio.
that?
Mr.
Ay,
Brooks,
qué
I
miedo.
really don't want to remove you from the
Lo
courtroom
escuché bien
today.
lejos y
But
I
I need
cayó
to
en
move on
want to
to-
be removed, but you're not going to sit here and tell
Perdón,
me on
me
the record what
distraje.
was on my body when I was told what it was. That's inaccurate, and I refuse.
At a
Your
later
Honor,
point in time, I
Your
will
Honor,
put
I refuse to sit here and let you make an inaccurate record.
Ella dice,
when you
él
know
ahorita
that
está
it was, in
alegando,
fact, a
diciendo,
shock
pues él
device.
está ahorita
That's
en
why I
shock
had the black
porque
cloth
ya lo traen
in front of the
esposado, ¿se
table
fijan? Pero
so it
ella
couldn't be
dice
shown.
que él,
That's why I had
ella
a
le está
chair
diciendo que
sitting
él
on the side of
traía
me
ahí un
that was
dispositivo
told needs to
en caso
cover
de
up the
que
fact
en
that
la
I had a
silla, en
shock
caso de que él
device
se pusiera
on
pues
my
medio
ankles.
intenso, pues eso le
And
iba a
I
dar
think it's
como
very,
choques,
very,
¿no? Porque
very
ya ven que se pone
unfair.
medio loco.
And it's
Así se pone medio
dishonorable
acá,
to
medio.
get on a record and not tell the truth.
Y que el
I'm
público
not
pues
trying
no
to
sabía.
dishonor you, Your Honor. I'm not
Y
trying
lo
to
tenían
disrespect you.
custodiado
I'm not
porque
trying
pues
to
como él no tiene
disrespect your
abogado,
court.
tenían que también
I just want
protegerlo
the
de
truth
donde
to
lo
be
traen
told.
hacia acá, porque pues
That
también la
should not be
gente,
sealed.
los familiares o lo que sea, o sea, él corre
everything else can
peligro,
be
¿no?
open to the
También.
public, then the public should know that I had a shock device on my
Y
ankle.
que la gente, que el público
That
debería
was
de saber que
purposely
él
not
tenía
shown to the
un
jury or to the
dispositivo
public.
que le
They
podía
should know that.
hacer
All right, thank you, Mr. Brooks. I disagree wholeheartedly with your
Well,
characterization.
it's not true.
Mr. Brooks, I didn't interrupt you. Please
not
don't
true.
Dice,
interrupt
señor
me.
Brooke, yo no
It's
lo,
not
yo lo
true.
interrumpí,
Mr. Brooks.
yo no lo
Well,
interrumpí.
I'm quite sure there's cameras rolling right now because there are always cameras rolling.
Dice, obviamente
There's
aquí hay
always
cámaras
audio
filmando
on.
todo el
Mr.
tiempo
Brooks,
también.
I need
There's
to move on to
there's public in
scheduling.
the
Dice ella,
courtroom.
nos
I had a
necesitamos
shock
mover a
device on
seguir
my
caminando
ankles,
al siguiente tema, por
and they
favor.
purposely did not want to show that to you guys. or to
Dice,
the
eso
jury.
es algo que hicieron aquí,
That's
que
why
por-
I'm
que,
advising
o sea, que
you
estaba debajo de la
or
silla,
here.
estaba por ahí un
Mr.
That's why That's the
I'm
reason
advising
why.
you.
And I always had the chair right here.
Y que por
Everybody
eso
that's
a
been in
él lo
this courtroom
tenían que
seen
tener
that I
siempre
have a chair right here,
sentado.
even though I had no counsel.
Dice,
What
obviamente
is
yo
the
no
reason
tenía
for
ni
me to
idea.
have a
Dice,
chair
¿cómo
right here?
está ahorita
Mr.
alegando por
Brooks,
eso?
Why
Y
did I
la
have a
verdad,
black cloth
any
in front of
further
the table?
interruption
la verdad,
will
pues
result in you being removed
tiene
to the other
razón,
courtroom
o
Okay,
because
sea,
you're
and
not
all
letting
you
move
contempt,
on
that's
to
pero
okay.
schedule
también
it.
las
Is it
juezas y
civil
las
contempt or
precauciones que
criminal?
toma la corte,
All
pues
right,
también
one more
tienen
interruption and you
razón. O
will
sea,
go to
yo
the
creo
other
que
courtroom.
Well, they need
él
to know
ahorita
that.
está
Stop.
exaltado
They need to
porque
know that.
ya de
They
todas
need
maneras
to
ya
know
está
the truth.
I'm going to
sentenciado,
ask
o
the
sea, ya
state
es
some questions.
culpable.
If you interrupt when I do
Ella le
that, you
está
will be
dando,
removed to the
Yeah,
other
remove
courtroom.
me
le
then.
está,
All right,
Remove
Attorney.
le
me then.
está haciendo la
Attorney
revelación de
Basin.
todas estas
It's not
cosas
gonna
porque se
stop the
las
fact
tiene
that
que
they
All
need
decir
to
right,
know that
antes
it's
de
he,
que
not
le den la
he's
right.
sentencia.
interrupted. I'm sorry, everyone. We'll have to clear the courtroom.
Pero a
You'll
ver
be
si
removed
esto
to the other
ahorita no les
courtroom.
hace
Waiting
más
for appropriate findings.
Tell the truth,
contraproducente. Y
though, Your
ahorita
Honor.
la jueza está
Tell the
diciéndoles a
truth.
todos que
I had a
desalojen la
shot.
corte,
I had a
que
shot
desalojen la
device in
corte
my
Good to
ankles.
see you. We're off.
y lo van a poner, yo creo que otra vez, lo van a poner, lo van a guardar otra vez, me imagino, porque ahorita se puso otra vez histérico. Pero la verdad es que también tiene razón, honestamente. Yo no sé cómo sean las reglas en Estados Unidos, pero la verdad tiene razón él en que le debieron de haber dicho que tenía un dispositivo en caso de que se pusiera alterado de choque. Y ahorita ya lo traen en el uniforme pues con su uniforme de custodio, o sea, de cárcel, y lo traen esposado, que pues eso sí está gacho. O sea, no sé, es fuerte. Tienen razón también en ponerlo así, pero siento feo por él, ay, no sé, pobrecito. Dice, nunca se compuso este señor, ya lo hubieran sacado, es como cuando los hijos hablan encima de los padres. Pues sí, es como eso, pero yo creo que sí debieron de haberle dicho, y como acuérdate que él era su propio abogado, pues también creo que le debieron de haber dicho pues a él, ¿no? Porque pues su propio abogado también tiene que saber qué está pasando. Bueno, regresamos ahorita en unos minutos, no se vayan, voy a acomodar mi letrero porque se me cayó. Ahorita nos vemos.
The record in State versus Brooks appearances are as they were before. Mr. Brooks, if you interrupt me, I will mute you so that I can make an adequate record regarding.
Anyway, Your Honor.
All right, he interrupted. I will mute him. I need to make a record of his removal. The court did warn Mr. Brooks repeatedly that
Ella dice que pues tuvo que removerlo del cuarto porque pues obviamente, o sea, ahorita ya no tiene paciencia, ahorita ya ella está con otras reglas. Está bien.
I gave him the final warning.
Dice que ya le dio una llamada final y ya lo movió ahora al otro cuartito y que si la sigue interrumpiendo, pues así se la van a llevar.
And so the courtroom was closed. He was put into the other courtroom. I have confirmed that
Y
the
ya
audio
está, ya le
and
confirmaron que lo
visual
pusieron acá en el
technology
otro.
is working. He can hear, he can
Él puede
see
vernos y
the
puede
other
escucharnos
individuals in there.
perfectamente.
Confirmed that that was the case. He was audible for a little bit when I first went on the record, but he continued to be disruptive, and so I did utilize the mute function of the technology so that I could make an
Y bueno, pues
adequate
gracias a la
record.
tecnología, pues él va a estar allá de aquel
Although
lado.
this is really a scheduling hearing today, I will make a finding under Illinois versus Allen that his conduct was did disregard the elementary standards of proper conduct.
A los que van llegando les
decorum and
agradezco mucho
courtesy.
que
He was
me
disruptive.
cooperen con sus
He
likes, por
interrupted
favor, y
multiple
también si
times
gustan y pueden,
and,
suscribirse al canal, se los
challenged
agradezco
this
mucho
court
también.
when this
Si
court was
gustan también
making a
pueden
record
apoyar el canal
regarding
con
the
superchats,
restraints
con
that were
alguna,
utilized
si quieren hacer algún tipo de
throughout
donativo a
this
través de
trial.
PayPal. El PayPal está
I'm
en
not
la
gonna do it
descripción
today,
de
but
cada
I will
video
at a
en la
later
parte de
point in
abajo.
time.
Y
Perhaps
también,
after
si por algo no
scheduling,
pueden
I
hacer
will
ninguna de
have
las dos, dejen correr los
deputy
comerciales cuando
testify
vean también el
regarding the
video y con
restraints
eso
that were
también me apoyan
utilized,
bastante. Muchas
so
gracias.
that there is a full and
Estamos en el
complete record
juicio
about what
donde
was
ya le están dando la
utilized and what
sentencia,
was
le van a dar la
not
sentencia
utilized
a
throughout
Darrel
this
Brooks,
trial. It is
acusado
absolutely
de
false that
atropellamiento
a stun
intencional
belt
en
of
primer
any
grado
kind was
en medio
used
en un
on
desfile el
Mr.
año
Brooks.
pasado en Wisconsin,
I don't know if he's receiving that
donde pues se
information from
murieron
other
6
inmates,
personas y más de 68
but that
personas
was
estuvieron en
not
el hospital
utilized in this
graves.
case. It was a soft
Fue declarada
leg
culpable y
restraint
el día de hoy la jueza lo acaba de remover de
setup,
aquí
if you
de la
will,
corte
where he was
porque
shackled
sigue
his
con su
ankles with the soft
comportamiento
restraints and a soft strap
poco
so that it did not
respetuoso
make noise.
y
That was all
está ahorita
attached to
enojado
the
porque le acaban de
table,
dar la noticia
and
de
it is
que le tenían
absolutely
un
true that there was a
dispositivo que no le habían
black
dicho
table
que lo
skirt
tenía en la
on
silla
the tables,
en caso de
both
que
the
pues él
state's
necesitara
tables, the
toques, le
defense
iban a dar
table
toques, ¿no?
in this courtroom.
Entonces pues él ahorita está enojado por
Despite
eso
Mr.
porque dice
Brooks
que le debieron
believing
de haber
that
dicho que tampoco
it was not
debieron de
done
haberle
for his
mentido al
benefit, it
público
was to shield that
porque pues a la
information from the
gente
jury.
la gente
It's
tenía
also
derecho de
true that
saber
at
y es
all
lo que ahorita
times when
están
he
discutiendo,
has
como
been
él se
brought
puso
into
medio,
court,
pues
it's
se
been
alteró
before the court
cuando
has
se
been
enteró de
open to the
esto,
public.
de que tenía un
This
dispositivo
court
para que le
needed to
dieran
remove
choques en
him to
caso
the
de que
other
se
courtroom. It
necesitara.
was also
Pues la
done
jueza
with
decidió
the
removerlo
courtroom
y lo
closed
tienen
to the
ahorita
public.
acá apartado en
Was,
otro
of course,
lugar
a
donde pues
security
está él con sus
decision
audífonos
made by the
escuchando todo
sheriff's
y viendo a través
department.
de un
They are in
monitor, de una
charge
pantalla.
of his
Y
security
la
as well
jueza
as
pues
the
ahorita le
court's
está dando
security during any court proceeding
las
in this
indicaciones a las
courthouse.
personas que están
It
en
is their
la corte
discretion
haciendo
and
esto.
decision on what restraints
Ella va
would
a
be
tomar ahora la
utilized.
decisión
And
pues
again, I'll go
de la
through that
sentencia que le
later
van a dar a este
and have a
muchacho.
record made of what was utilized, including having one of the deputies identify what's on the exhibit. I'm not going to show that publicly. Again, there are security reasons.
Y ella pues dice que
We
por
don't,
cuestiones de
frankly,
seguridad
need inmates doing research or the public doing research on what these restraints are. There's an important security aspect.
que la seguridad es un
related
aspecto
to
muy
keeping
importante
courts
para
safe,
todos
keeping
ellos
inmates safe, and that is why I'm sealing that information
y por
from
eso ella
public
está
view,
ahorita haciendo
so
del
that
conocimiento de
their
todos esta
protocols and
información
practices
que pues no podía darse durante el tiempo que
have
estuvo el
that,
juicio, ¿no? Que fueron
frankly,
casi 2
veil of
semanas.
secrecy. It's important given the security issues. It's a law enforcement function, and
Y pues por
that is my
fuerza
decision
mayor.
on that. As far as Mr. Brooks being in the other courtroom.
Y bueno, pues
again,
mientras
I did
tanto el
that pursuant
señor
to the authority
Brooks va a
found
estar
in
en la
Illinois
otra
versus
en el otro
Allen. I did
cuarto.
not hold him in contempt, frankly, because it's a scheduling type hearing. I could simply have him taken back to the jail and he could appear by phone, but I've
Y dice que
chosen
si
to
se
have him
pone pues
appear
más
by
así,
video
ella lo puede
with an
solicitar que
audio
lo vuelvan a
means
poner
from
en
the
la
other
cárcel
courtroom.
y que pues va a tener que
With
atender todo
that,
por teléfono.
I am going to address scheduling. I will be asking each party in
Y bueno,
turn
que ella va a preguntarle a cada una de
how
las
much
partes
time they believe they need to present their various sentencing remarks and whether anyone will be speaking on behalf. So I'll turn to the state first.
Thank you, Your Honor. To date, we have indications from the victims or their families that 36 people would like to either have a statement read or they'd like to read it themselves.
Dice que tienen a
We have
36
approximately
personas,
5 to
pues,
10
de
others
las
that would like
víctimas
to submit one in writing, which
que le
obviously would
gustaría
impact the time
que
that we would
presentaran. Tienen
need
como
on
un
the
escrito.
sentencing date. I would think that the state's comments would be between a half an hour to 45 minutes.
De más o menos de
in
una
total.
hora y media, 45
So we're
minutos.
looking probably at about 4 to 4.5 hours. We will need some time to
Que ellos necesitan,
rotate victims out of the courtroom.
que necesitan como de 4 horas a 4 horas y media a llevarse a las víctimas a otro cuarto.
Courtroom at one time. So we'll need to get one set in, get another one to room 115 so that they can hear what's being said. So we're thinking 4 hours.
Que más o menos sí, van a tener como 2 grupos de diferentes víctimas y que más o menos se van a tardar 4 horas.
I think there's a strong desire to have the sentencing before the anniversary of,
ellos quieren hablar antes de que ya ven que en este mes va a ser el primer aniversario, el 21. O el 25 de noviembre se cumple un año de esa tragedia.
Works for everyone, specifically the 16th works for everyone that would like to talk. I know that this court
Y que pues necesitan más o menos 4 horas porque son 36 personas que quieren hablar, que quieren decir algo.
I do have other dates that would work. Unfortunately, those go out to the end of December, end of November, beginning of December. But again, I can't emphasize enough. There are a lot of families who are leaving town the week of the parade. And I think
y bueno, pues la semana de la
would be, it would be nice for them to have some
la semana del desfile del aniversario,
leave so that they're not around here at the time that a loved one was injured or killed.
By any chance, did you have
o sea,
an
los
opportunity to
familiares de las
look
víctimas como que y de las personas que también
my
participaron en
calendar
eso,
and
pues
some
también
of the
quieren como
jury
que
trials and talk with your
participar de
colleagues? I mean,
esto.
One of the cases, for example, I have on the 15th is an attempted homicide trial. I don't know if that's going to go or not, but just like this court gave due attention to this case.
Dice que no sabe si eso va a ser posible o no, pero que la corte pues le está dando atención a este caso.
June.
I did not. I received these dates, although I believe that they were probably sent this weekend. I did not check my email over the
Dice que
weekend.
pues
So I did
probablemente
receive them
este
this
fin de
morning, and
semana es
unfortunately,
cuando
I
ella
did
ya
not
va a
take the
recibir
time
todo
to
lo que
do
las
that.
personas quieren hablar, quieren decir.
We can certainly look right now. Do you know who's handling that attempted homicide from our office?
I believe that's Attorney Sitzberger.
Okay.
There's other cases as well, because it's rare that I wouldn't stack trials. Right. And so there's also another serious felony matter with Attorney Thurston for your office. That one was scheduled in August. I have another one with you, yes. Attorney Basie. I'm just looking at the number of. So we have 8 different defendants, many more cases, but 8 different defendants scheduled.
Está checando ahorita la jueza qué onda con el calendario.
Our CJCC has a very special meeting. I'm still the chair of that, and that is an anniversary of the CJCC that I do not want to miss. So not that I couldn't work around that, and it's not that I'm not willing to change, my calendar in any way that I can.
Pues la jueza está eso buena donde está tratando de ayudarlos, de apoyarlos, pero pues ya eso como que dice ya sería una cuestión extra, eso no le corresponde realmente, no es parte del caso. No es parte del caso.
Attorney Thurston is not in the office today, so I can't speak to that trial.
All right, let me, before we look at dates, of course, let me talk with Mr. Brooks and find out how long he anticipates his sentencing remarks and whether anyone. So, sir, I have unmuted you. If you could speak to scheduling.
Dice, ya lo desmuteé, señor. ¿Usted ya puede hablar?
First, Your Honor, I would just like to say that I know you're well aware that I have ongoing matters in Milwaukee, pending too. I have to be in court there in 2 weeks, and those cases are scheduled for trial as well.
O sea, lo van a juzgar por otros casos también, parece ser.
I
Y ella
haven't
dice
had the
que,
opportunity
es
to
que se escucha súper bajito su micrófono.
speak with my representation over there because of the protocol that I've been on these past, I think it was 5 days since I last was in your court. I would like the opportunity to, now that obviously this was the big case, obviously. If it pleases the court, if it pleases you, Your Honor, I would at least like to get a disposition on what might happen there. I go to court there in 2 weeks.
Va a volver a ir a
I'm
corte en
sure
2
that
semanas
I would learn a lot more at that time.
y que quiere aprender más
I'm
en
not
ese
sure if
momento
I'm gonna have the same representation at this point or something's
de su
gonna change with
representación
that.
como para hacer mejor su trabajo, dice. O sea,
Do you know the specific date that you're scheduled?
The 17th.
el 17 de
That's
noviembre va a
what both
tener otra
cases
vez
say. I
el
don't know
otra
why they
corte.
put both cases on the same date. And like I said, I don't know if anything's gonna change between now and then. But both of those cases are scheduled to go to trial. And like I said, with the representation there, I don't know what's gonna happen with that as of yet. There's been issues for months with that. I know that's something that Milwaukee has to deal with and not your court. But it would be a great help to me to at least be able to find out what I can find out about what can possibly happen there, and to also do any work that I may need to do on my end to prepare for that.
So I have looked at the dates. You are right. There's a hearing on the 17th at 2 p.m. The trial, though, in that case is not scheduled until December 12th.
O sea,
So my
tiene
belief
el
would
otro
be I
caso que
could
lo van a juzgar por
see
otros
the
casos en
judge in that
diciembre
case
12,
understanding
el
that
12 de
he
diciembre,
had
pero
to
tiene
go
que
to
estar
sentencing, or I chose to go to
el
sentencing.
17 de noviembre
on
también.
those
Están
dates.
checando como fechas y datos.
And it looks like, again, both cases are
No entiendo de
scheduled
qué lo van a
for the
volver
same
o sea,
dates.
no entiendo de qué serían los
Yeah, it was
otros
kind of
casos.
weird to me. I don't, the way they scheduled both cases on the same day was just kind of like, I didn't really understand why they did it like that.
Tampoco él entiende, dice, yo tampoco entiendo por qué lo están haciendo de esa forma, o sea, por qué primero en
Well,
noviembre y luego
let's
hasta
talk
diciembre.
about a related issue, and that is, do you anticipate anyone speaking on your behalf at the time of
Pues
sentencing?
porque se están
I do.
adelantando ellos, dice,
Alright.
porque él no ha tenido, o sea,
And do
no
you know
quiere
how
nadie
many
que lo
people you
represente, no tiene
anticipate
quien,
speaking on your behalf?
no tiene un abogado.
I don't know an exact number, Your Honor. Rough estimate there be.
Ahorita ya anda bien respetuoso, ahorita ya
20
le
or
bajó 2
more.
rayitas, qué chistoso.
I have not yet spoken with everybody, obviously, because of the protocol that I've been
Dice que
on.
por el protocolo, obviamente, pues él no ha hablado con nadie.
I haven't had the chance to, essentially, some people will be traveling to Wisconsin from different areas, different states.
Que porque
And
parece ser que
I
unas
know they
personas van a estar viajando a
expressed
Wisconsin.
wanting to be there to speak for that. But like I said, me, myself, not being able to have the opportunity to speak with them personally.
Que porque como él se representa el mismo, pues si él no tiene la oportunidad de hablarlo personalmente.
And I don't know if how many people will be coming from different parts of the
Y que
state.
él no sabe cuántas personas van a venir de diferentes partes de Estados Unidos.
I would ask, if it pleases Your Honor, to be able to have everyone that does want to speak and does want to address the court, to give them the opportunity to be here for that. I know there's, as far as the people that are here in Wisconsin now.
Dice, yo sé que ya hay muchas personas que están ahorita ya aquí en Wisconsin.
They was stressed to me is that,
pero vienen como más personas como que por el aniversario de quieren estar como que presentes.
Because I had totally forgot that the Milwaukee court dates were this close. And so I was just like, yeah, you're right, 17th, that's 2 weeks roughly.
Y pues dice que sí, que el 17 son 2 semanas a partir de ahora.
Where we're at in those proceedings. Like I said, there's still like some issues going on with the representation.
Y que él todavía sigue teniendo problemas con lo de la representación.
Obviously, I can't reach out from where I'm at, collect call wise. And I've had very, very limited interaction with the current representation. In
Que él
those
tiene
matters.
muy limitado su contacto.
I don't know what pleases you, Your Honor. I don't know what pleases the court, but I guess what I'm seeking is for enough time to know exactly who's going to be speaking, where they're going to be traveling from.
Dice que él, como por su
And
conocimiento, él necesita saber quiénes exactamente van a estar en la corte, de qué
a
van a
little
estar
bit more
hablando.
information that I can provide to this court about the proceedings in Milwaukee County.
One of the things that I've done for other cases. And
Dice, una de las
I know
cosas
I
que
was
yo he
asked
hecho
about this
en
previously as
otros
well, and I
casos,
would also offer it up to the parties, is I will also make available Zoom for
que también
victims,
ella hace Zooms
family members, including your
disponibles.
family members who would like to make a statement on your behalf. The only thing I ask, though,
Dice,
is
la única cosa
I'm
que
not just
yo,
going to open up my Zoom to anybody. And so anyone who wants a relative, a
dice, cualquier
victim,
persona que quiere estar aquí,
family
familiar,
member, to speak, whether it be from the state
o
or
para
from you,
hablar,
Mr. Brooks, is I need to know who,
que vengan de
no
parte de
later
las
than,
víctimas o del señor Brook. Ella necesita saber quiénes,
probably a couple of days before.
unos días
I'm
antes,
leaning toward scheduling this on the 15th, so that would
porque
be
esto
like
se
the
va a
Friday
programar ya
before,
para, o sea, a partir del
which would be
15
the
de
11th.
noviembre,
So that when they come on the Zoom, they're identified. and
cuando
then I
vengan
let
al
them
Zoom se
in.
tienen que identificar.
So I understand your concern about Milwaukee, but if I hold
Dice, yo
this on the
entiendo
15th and the 16th,
su
by
preocupación por lo de Milwaukee, pero
your description of how many people, by what the state said, I think it's going to take about a day to hear the remarks from the parties.
dice más o menos lo que usted necesita saber de quiénes y de dónde vienen y los de más o menos necesitamos un día para saber eso, como para
So
organizarnos,
probably a day and a half, but
o
I
día
set
y
aside
medio.
both of those days just to be on the safe side, in case it takes a little bit longer for either of the parties to present their sentencing remarks.
Your Honor, I'm not interrupting.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was trying to make sure I didn't interrupt you.
Dice, quiero estar seguro de no interrumpirla, porque le está hablando ya con mucho cariño, ya le dice, ay, su señoría,
Your
porque
Honor,
ya lo
with all
mandaron
due
para
respect,
allá y
if
ya
it
lo pusieron
pleases
en su
the
lugar y
court,
ya está más.
If it pleases your court, Your Honor, because of my situation, I could benefit from a little bit more time. I'm
Dice
not
que por su
asking for-
situación
I'm
él
not
necesita
asking
más
for
tiempo.
something outrageous here. Just enough that I can tie up some of my loose ends, get you the information that you need to be able, if someone has to be present by Zoom, or
Que si
whatever
alguien
the
tiene que
case may
estar
be,
presente por el
or
Zoom
to find out if these people are actually going to travel,
y que si gente va a viajar ahí a donde él
and
está.
also still be able to prepare for what I need to prepare for, because obviously I still,
Porque como que él
regardless of
quiere
anything, I
estar
still
preparado
have
y
to be
quiere saber
prepared
quiénes van a estar y quiénes van a
to
hablar.
continue court proceedings. I still have to be prepared.
Dice, son procedimientos de la corte, yo
It
tengo que estar
would
preparado.
really be a big help and a great benefit
Y
if
va
I
a ser
can
de
have
mucha
just a
ayuda.
little bit more time to tie up the loose ends and get everything done in a timely fashion to be able to be ready to go and present what's needed to the court.
I understand that, sir. The issue the court has is,
Dice, entiendo
obviously, if I
que
wait
estos
much
son,
longer than that, I would, out of respect for the victims, avoid the week of November 21st.
dice que
That's
ella va,
also
pues por
Thanksgiving
razones
week.
obvias, no poner o
Don't
no
think that would
interferir
be
en
an
la
appropriate
semana
time
del
for
aniversario,
sentencing.
que es la semana del
But
25 de
then,
noviembre.
After that, I do have, I mean, my calendar is just incredibly full.
Dice, mi calendario es increíblemente lleno, estoy toda full.
I have trials almost every week other than the week
Dice,
that I'm
tengo casos
off,
todas las semanas,
all the way up through the week of December 19th.
hasta diciembre
and then
19,
I'm off again for the holidays.
porque luego vienen
And
las
so
vacaciones.
that puts us into January, and I'm not willing to do that. It's
Y
just-
también no podemos
and plus
mover
I
esto
need
hasta
to
enero,
avoid
dice,
the
no.
week of that trial, in case one of your cases goes to trial.
Y pues dice que
So,
alguna de las personas
I
que
think I'm giving the parties ample time. I'm
les
giving
está dando a
alternate
las
ways for
partes
family
bastante
members to
tiempo
speak.
para hablar,
That is by Zoom
para que hable por
or
Zoom
in person.
o en persona,
should
que vengan
they,
aquí,
wish to be here in
quien
person.
desee estar aquí en persona.
And I'm willing to clear my calendar, even
Y
of those
estoy
trials.
dispuesta a
Hopefully,
hacer
my
un
trials
espacio en mi
would go,
calendario.
but to the extent that they don't, then I will clear Tuesday the 15th.
Y voy a dejar libre
Wednesday
el
the
martes
16th, though, I
15.
would not start until later that day.
Y no vamos a
given
empezar hasta tarde ese día.
Meeting I have to chair for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, so, or Collaborating Council. So that's from 8:30 to 10.
Eso es de
I'll
las
just-
8:30.
I need
Déjame
to
apuntarlo
talk
yo también, de
with
las
her
8:30 a
executive
las
director a little
10,
bit more,
el 15 de noviembre.
Because I know we have a special type of meeting schedule, and I don't know if it will go longer. At a minimum, it would be safe to say the afternoon on that date. And no matter what, that would still clear Mr. Brooks to be in Milwaukee on the 17th. I mean, we're one county over.
Todavía
Not
se están
unusual to be
organizando,
ordered to
estamos en
produce that
eso.
close. So-
What I was gonna, oh, I'm sorry.
No, so I am gonna schedule it for the 15th and the 16th. The 15th will
Y bueno,
start
dice
at
que ella ya está organizando las fechas porque parece ser
8:30
que lo van a
a.m.
juzgar.
And depending on, I mean,
Lo van a
I'll be ready
juzgar
to
por
go no
otros
matter
casos. Y
what
dice
on
María
the
que lo van a
15th, and
juzgar
if
por más
the
casos,
state
como
takes
posesión
into
de
the
drogas,
afternoon,
de
and then
sustancias,
Mr. Brooks can-
armas
the
y
rest of that
por
afternoon or
cuestión
into the
doméstica,
next
porque
day,
acuérdense que
I
le dio
will
un punch
certainly
a su
make those
novia.
accommodations.
Le dio un punch a su novia.
gonna
Entonces sí, o sea,
tentatively
son muchos casos.
Say we're gonna schedule it for 1
Este
p.m.
caso
on
le
the
está saliendo
16th.
muy caro a la corte, a todos ustedes los
And if
americanos que
anything
viven
changes,
allá.
I'll let the parties know, and then I just need to know by Friday the 11th at noon.
Ella dice que tiene que saber para el viernes 11 para al
The
mediodía
parties are asking
que,
make their statements by Zoom.
que hagan sus,
with a listing of
sus
their names so
que hagan
that,
sus
when
oraciones,
they
todo lo que van a
appear on the
decir
Zoom, 'cause then we'll release, then I'll approve it.
por
We'll
Zoom, porque
release
lo
the
tienen
Zoom
ellos que
information.
solicitar
I
y
need
después se tiene que
everyone to
aprobar.
be aware, though, including victims, you may not, your family members, and it may not just simply give this Zoom information out. It will be only for those individuals that are identified by the state as wanting to appear by Zoom.
Y solamente los que están
I wanna
identificados,
keep
así
a
como
tight
por el estado,
control
que
over that.
no
And if
cualquiera
I don't
puede,
see
pues,
like a name either says a name that's been approved, like let's say you had a friend by the name of John Smith. If John Smith doesn't say put on their Zoom info John Smith, I'm not, and it's just a phone number, I may not. let
dice que
them
tienen
in.
que identificarse
have to be
también cuando estén en el
identified.
Zoom, tienen que
Can't
tener
just give it
escrito
out
su
to
nombre
anyone.
después de que hayan sido aprobados de
And
que van a
it's
participar en
only
el
for
Zoom.
those individuals who want to make a statement, since the proceedings will be live streamed as well, whether that be how we've been doing it throughout the trial, or if I utilize the Zoom and the live stream I've done in the past, so that other people can watch it as well and to facilitate the smaller courtroom that we have. So that's my decision on that. And at the I want to just very briefly have, I believe it's going to be Deputy Kibler who's going to testify about the restraints.
Your Honor,
Yes.
but I'm not trying to interrupt.
Dice, su señoría, no estoy tratando de interrumpirla, le estoy hablando, Coco. Él está muy respetuoso.
You said, when is this supposed to be? Because I'm definitely gonna need a little bit more time.
Dice, yo definitivamente voy a necesitar más tiempo.
Mr. Brooks, I've made my decision. The sentencing will be on the 15th and the 16th of November.
El 15 y el 16 de noviembre ella ya le está diciendo que es cuando va a tener ya todo organizado.
A request in writing no later
Y se
than
tiene que
noon on the
solicitar
11th.
por
The same is true
escrito.
for the state. Everyone needs to be specifically identified so that I can make the appropriate approvals. And
Porque
only
ella
those
tiene que, pues,
individuals who
hacer
I
sus
specifically
aprobaciones.
approved to appear by Zoom may be on the Zoom. The Zoom information can't be passed out further. And I'll create
Que
a
la
special
información
Zoom
de Zoom no puede
for
pasar
that,
de
and I'll
esos
make
días.
sure that I work with Teresa to do that and get that information when I approve that to the parties.
Your Honor, what if I'm placed on the protocol per the jail? What if
Mr. Brooks, that's between you and the jail at this point.
Dice,
If
señor Brooks, eso
there
es
is
entre usted y
something
la cárcel a este punto.
you need to first go through them.
Usted
I'm not
primero
gonna
tiene
step
que
on their
ir
toes with their
así como que
protocol.
arreglar
I'm
usted
sure
con
they'll
ellos.
understand this is a very important sentencing for you.
Esta es una
and
importante
make
sentencia
certain
para usted.
accommodations. They've done that throughout this case. I trust that they will do that. As
Y
they
yo confío en que para
determine
ellos, o sea, que lo van a apoyar en
they
este caso. O
haven't
sea,
done it for the past week when I went on the protocol without even telling them anything suicidal in nature, and I was still placed on a suicide watch
I
protocol.
understand that, sir.
él
I need to move
está,
on
él
because I do
está
have calendar this afternoon, but I
en
wanna
un
have Detective
protocolo, en
Kibler come
una
to the stand.
como vigilancia
Your Honor.
Deputy,
What?
what did I
Quiere
say? Did
quitar,
I-
ya
did I
sabes
give you a
qué.
promotion? Sorry. All right.
But
He's gonna come on
But-
up to the witness stand. I'm gonna
But-
swear him in and we'll go from there.
for the record, may I respectfully object to your ruling, Your Honor?
It's noted for the record. All right, Madam Clerk, swear him in, please.
For the record, may I respectfully request a legal reconsideration
All right,
of your
Mr.
ruling,
Brooks,
Your
I'm gonna
Honor?
have to mute you because I need
Dice,
to keep
señor
going
Brooks,
and
lo
I
voy a
can't
tener que
pass
mutear
this
porque ahorita tengo
disruption.
aquí a
Go
una
ahead.
persona que va a
Raise your right
pasar
hand.
Do you
a
solemnly swear that the
testificar.
testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help
Un
you God?
policía.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a seat. I'll let you put your name on the record so I don't get that wrong. And so go ahead, please state and spell your first and last names.
First name Nicholas, Nicholas, last name Kibler, Kibler.
All right, thank you. And you are employed in what capacity with the sheriff?
¿Usted es empleado de
I'm a
dónde?
deputy for the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
You don't have a,
Chicos, suscríbanse al canal. Recuerden que se pueden suscribir al canal de una manera muy fácil. Dale clic y ya estás suscrito y deja tu like. Y también eso también me apoyas aquí en el salón.
And can you tell
Gracias.
us in what capacity?
My capacity was, specifically, my responsibility was Darrel Brooks, along with Deputy Stengelson.
Que su responsabilidad fue pues el señor
Were you
Darrel
in
Brooks.
court, at the start of the trial on October 3rd?
I was,
And did you come into court or work the court trial every day?
Y
that
que
we
él vino
were
a
in
trabajar a
I
la
did.
corte cuando estuvo todo este juicio, todos los días.
Were you at all in charge of the restraints? Let me ask you this way. Do you have knowledge of the restraints that were utilized on Mr. Brooks
I
throughout this
do.
trial?
Que si él
Can you describe
tenía
those?
conocimiento de todas las
it's a
restricciones
soft restraint that we used.
que estaban
Um,
hacia el señor Brooks, dice
It
que
was
sí.
not any type of electronic control device. It was just a soft restraint that we applied to Mr. Brooks prior to coming into court every day.
Que pues sí, le tenían que
And
aplicar
would
un
that be a
dispositivo al
restraint
señor Brooks
system
antes de
that
que entrara aquí a la
was
corte
on
todos los
his legs or
días.
something else?
It was around his ankles.
Que fue un dispositivo alrededor de
Throughout the
su,
trial, the tables in
¿cómo
this
se llama? De su
courtroom had
tobillo.
black table skirts. Do
Como
you
el que le
remember
pusieron a
seeing
Larry
those?
Ramos
do.
con el que se escapó, el que se cortó y se
And
quitó para ahí.
Did that hide from view in any way the use of the restraints from the jury?
It did.
And were the restraints also attached to the table in some fashion?
They were attached to the table by a tether.
Que sí, estaban
point
adheridos
in
a la
time-
mesa también cuando él estaba ahí sentado.
Were there any other restraints utilized in the courtroom?
There was not.
Que si había otro
Any
tipo de
point in time,
dispositivo
were there any
en la
type
corte que
of
ellos no supieran, dice que no.
Electronic or stun device placed on Mr. Brooks?
There was not.
Dice que no tenía nada el señor Brooks. Otro dispositivo, aparte de ese, no.
Anything you would want to add to the record regarding the restraints that were
¿Algo
used
que
in this?
quiera
case?
añadir?
Not at this time.
No, en este momento.
State, have any questions?
Just briefly.
¿Tiene alguna pregunta?
Sir, you indicated that the restraints were connected to the table through a tether, is that correct?
Dice usted
Correct,
que
and
el
then we would
dispositivo
secure
estaba
them with
conectado
a-
a
like
la
a
mesa,
padlock.
¿verdad?
And how
on the
long was that
restraint.
tether?
The tether that was in here was 4 feet.
So Mr. Brooks could stand up?
Correct.
Que
Walk
estaba,
to
que sí era
his
súper
left
largo, como que el
briefly and
tipo,
walk
el
to his
cable, no sé,
right.
la
Is that
cordón.
correct?
That's
Que
correct.
sí, que él podía
And
levantarse y estar
That was the
bien.
same rule that the state had, that we had to stand up and use our table to question witnesses. That was the same rule that applied to Mr. Brooks.
Correct.
Nothing further.
Mr. Brooks, you're muted. Do you have any questions regarding the restraint
Ya le
system
quitaron la
as
muteada para ver si
testified
quiere
to by
preguntar algo.
Deputy
Yes,
Kimber?
Yes, I do. And Your Honor, you can't practice law from the bench.
Your question, sir?
Su pregunta,
So none of your fellow deputies told me that it was a shock device when I asked.
¿por qué no se quita el
what was being
cubrebocas?
placed
No se
on
le
my ankles
entiende.
At the start of this trial,
Not that I'm aware of.
not that you're aware of. Do you know for sure that I was told that they were a shock device?
I don't believe that's the
él le
truth.
está preguntando que si
I
él sabía
believe
que él
every
tenía
time you
también
had those
adherido
devices
un
put on, I was in
device.
And it was either
que le iba a dar
myself or Deputy
toques.
Stengelson putting them on, and I did not tell you that, nor did I ever hear Deputy Stengelson tell you that they were an electronic device.
So you were here every single day for every single moment of the trial.
Correct.
Y si usted estuvo aquí todos los días del
You never
juicio,
heard
cada
any
día.
deputy tell me that they were. Matter of fact, let me back up. Do you recall me asking what was being placed on my ankles?
Dice usted me,
That I don't. If you did,
¿usted
you would have
recuerda
told you it
haberme,
was just
haberme
an
escuchado
ankle restraint.
preguntarle qué era lo que yo tenía en mi tobillo? Dice que no.
And you said that it was an ankle restraint. Did it have any metal parts?
Yes.
And what are those metal parts?
Metal part is where a strap went through and the
Y
locking
que eran,
device.
le está describiendo cómo era el dispositivo.
And what are those, particularly, let's say, if a defendant in a trial attempts to, let's say, attack someone, what would be the purpose of those ankle restraints?
The restraints we had on you would limit your movement. So if you
Que
did
las
try to do
restricciones que él
anything, we
tenía
would have had enough
adheridas es
time to.
que le iban a limitar su
control you.
movimiento.
And you state that, well, the prosecutors stated that the same rules were in effect for the defendant as the prosecution, but were they not?
Que
allowed
son las
to
mismas
put up
reglas que ellos
exhibits to go to
utilizan
the,
cuando hay una persecución.
to go to the front of the courtroom and put up exhibits?
They might have a few times, but
The record will reflect it was one time in the presence of the jury. And after that, I called them on it and said that would not happen. And then after that, it was only with the permission of the court and then outside the presence of the jury.
Que sí se pidió permiso, se le pidió permiso a la jueza y que esto, lo que no sabían eran los jueces, o sea, el juez, el jurado no sabía
Mr.
nada de
Brooks,
esto,
I'm
pero
in charge of the record, not you, and the record's going
I
to
didn't
be
say I was-
accurate.
I didn't say, well, it's not accurate. You're practicing law from the bench.
All right, Mr. Brooks, do you have any other questions for
dice,
this?
señor
Yes, I
Brooks,
do.
¿tiene
Yes, I
tiene
do.
usted otra
Has to be
pregunta
about
que
About
nos
the
quiera
restraint
dar?
system. Please
Okay,
continue.
and was I allowed to approach the bench and put up exhibits at any time during this trial?
you were not.
And so how is it that the prosecution was able to do something that I was not able to do?
That's not for me to answer.
Él está diciendo que, o sea, como quien dice, él está defendiéndose, tratando de decir que como
There
él
was no shock
no fue
device on your
perseguido,
ankle,
que
sir.
por qué le ponen cosas como si él hubiera estado
told that it was.
en esa posición de,
And you
como
said that
tipo de
you don't
fugitivo
recall
perseguido.
hearing that being told to me, correct?
No, it was not told to you by me.
Yeah, by you, but you also said that's the point that I'm getting at. I'm asking the question. You said that it wasn't told to me by you. I've never asked you, correct?
Dice que
You
él no
never
le
asked me,
preguntó
but I
a él,
also
pero
did
que
not
tampoco
ever
él
hear
le
Deputy
dijo.
Danielson tell you that
Y
they
que
were
el
shocked.
policía le dice que no le
I never
correspondía al
asked you,
policía
yes or
decirle
no.
a él.
No, you did not.
So do you know for sure if I ever asked any other deputy?
Well, considering I was in there when the restraints were being placed on you, I did not ever hear anybody while I was inside the bullpen while they were putting restraints on you.
So it'd be fair to say that you don't know for sure if I ever asked what the device
Dice
was
que
that
él no,
was being
dice,
placed
usted
on
está
my
diciendo
hand.
entonces que
No,
no
I
está
can't be
seguro
for
si yo
sure.
realmente, o sea, que pedía o tenía el conocimiento de eso, pues no.
So how do you know I didn't ask?
You don't have to answer that. That's our.
Dice, no tiene que contestar eso, no se
I
preocupe.
mean,
All right, the record's
I'm
been
done.
made. Mr. Brooks, I'm cutting off the
Dice,
questioning.
señor, lo estoy
I'm
cortando, ya
just
terminó
leaving
su
for a moment.
tiempo
The
de
record's
hablar.
been made. Deputy, you may step down. Mr. Brooks, if you have additional information
Si
that you
usted
want to
tiene
provide
información
to the
adicional,
court, I'd ask that you do so in writing.
que me
and
lo ponga por favor por
provide the
escrito.
identity of any and all individuals you claim provided you with information that you were in a shock restraint. But I'll make a finding based upon the testimony of Deputy Kibler and also my knowledge of being in the courtroom every day and seeing Mr. Brooks being attached, meaning they would secure him to the table, they would unsecure him when he needed to move and
Y
other
que ella,
things.
ella
I'll
estaba
make
de
a finding
testigo de
that
cómo
the
a veces
shock
pues lo
restraint
de, o sea,
system was what
tenía
was
él el
utilized
movimiento
and
cada
no
que se
time
movía o lo
he
paraban
was ever
ellos,
in a shock type of
el
device.
tipo de dispositivo
All
que
right, with
tenía, o
that,
sea, no
then,
le
ladies and
no
gentlemen,
interfería
is
pues
going
con
to conclude
su
the
movimiento
hearing
ni
today.
su...
We have the sentencing dates. I would also ask that any and all written material that either side wants this court
Que
to
si necesitan
consider
dar algo,
also be
tienen que darlo
filed
todas
by the
las dos
11th
partes por escrito
by noon. So that's November 11th at
para el
noon.
11
That
de
will give this
noviembre
court
a
ample
las
time to
12 del
review it
día.
ahead
Es
of
la
the
fecha
hearing
límite.
on Tuesday, November 15th. All right, thank you, everyone. We are in recess. The court's going to take a short break before I start with my remaining afternoon calendar.
Y bueno, van a tomar un receso y nos vemos en un ratito. Bye bye.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good reason. Not looking so silly now.
Right, yeah.
That would be shocking. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Court will call State of Wisconsin versus Darrel Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sue Upper, Leslie Daisy, and Zach Witchell appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Darrel Brooks appears in person with his attorneys, Anna Keys and Jeremy Perry. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Object to that.
I'm sorry.
I'm here representing myself pro per.
All right, thank you, sir. Then we are here so that I can once again address the motion to withdraw that was filed by the defense attorneys in this case late last week. I did receive this morning a filing from the defense. It includes the waiver of right to attorney form that appears to have been signed by Mr. Brooks. I want to start with the defense team, because it's still a team right now, Attorney Perry, and I want to get some information from you for the record. So if you could please tell me how many times
Ya
have you
llegué.
met Mr. Brooks since you've been appointed. I'm looking for you to quantify that for me if you can.
Ok, cambiaron las cámaras. A Brooks lo pusieron como, ¿por qué se ve como que está al lado de unos abogados? ¿De qué me perdí? Perdóneme, es que me estaba haciendo algo de comer. Déjenme ver si apague la estufa. ¿Por qué se sigue oyendo?
Your Honor, may I have a question while they're reviewing that? Is the live stream on? It is. Okay. The monitors aren't on?
Not at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
I can confirm with them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You want the monitors on? Sí, le pusieron ahí gente, pero qué raro, ¿por qué? A lo mejor para estos casos, como son también complicados, puede ser. Ya no lo dejaron solo, pero como quiera va a perder.
Yes, it's up. It's a small box.
Es que la verdad estaba haciendo pura pérdida de tiempo, pero ¿por qué no escucho? No, bueno, no se escucha nada. No, ¿saben qué? No, este no es el caso. Espérense, ¿qué pasó aquí? Este no es. ¿Qué pasó? Si se fueron a break, ¿de qué me perdí? Espérense. Déjenme ver. Algo pasó que no sé. Estábamos. Qué raro. Qué raro, qué raro, qué raro. A ver, déjenme checar. Seguimos en break, no se preocupen, ¿ok? Aquí sigo con ustedes.
seated. I gotta get logged in. There are pink sentencing sheets. So we'll be good for later. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. And then I think we're hightailing it over there after this one.
I kind of prepared some.
Yeah. They're dirty. Oh, thank you.
Pues ya regresamos, ya regresaron del lonche, ¿cómo están? Buenas tardes a los que van llegando. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Generosamente su like, por favor, a los que van llegando. Gracias.
Oh, I just left something upstairs.
Y si gustan suscribirse también a mi canal, se los agradezco bastante. Ya vamos a llegar a los 40,000 suscriptores. ¡Ay! 40,000 suscriptores en un poquito, en menos de... Ay, otra vez se fueron al break. En menos de, ¿qué será? En menos de 600, no, en menos de 400, estamos a 590. ¿Cuántos nos faltan? Nos faltan 10 suscriptores para llegar a 39,600, así que compartan y por favor sigan suscribiéndose al canal, apoyemos la causa para que terminemos el año con 40,000, ¿ok? Ahorita regresamos, pues yo pensé que estaban, corté a mi mamá de volada, le llamé por teléfono para saludarla, pero bueno, ahorita nos vemos, ¿sale? Aquí ando.
Court will call State of Wisconsin versus Darrel Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
State by Leslie Basie and Zach Witchell.
Sir, please state your name for the record.
I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I set for value and return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption.
Bueno, ya regresamos. Gracias a los que están todavía aquí.
Obligations and charges connected with this case.
Ya lo regresaron a
I
la
do not
corte.
dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments and state for the record that I do not identify by the name stated.
The record should reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrel Brooks is present in custody in
Y
person.
están haciendo pues referencia a su nombre, a que está presente en la corte.
The court is here to address a couple of things. Of course, the scheduling of sentencing. I also want to address a letter that was sent to the parties late last week on the 28th regarding the unsealing of search warrants, a filing from Mr. Brooks, and then an issue just as it relates to the record and the use of restraints during the trial, given a statement that was made by Mr. Brooks when the jury was coming out
Seguimos aquí
after they had reached their verdicts. So
después de que se
I'll
dio el
start with the search
veredicto,
warrant issue. The parties should have received the letter dated October 28th.
que la
advising the
parte
parties
debió de
that the
recibir
court,
una carta con fecha el 28 de
will be
octubre,
unsealing all of the search warrants
donde vienen
tomorrow, November
selladas
1st, unless there's an objection that
las
is raised.
garantías, las
Of course, that's
indicaciones,
based in law. In fact,
basado en la ley.
and I indicated in that letter we would address any objections at this hearing. So I'll start with the state. Do you have any objection to that?
¿Tiene alguna
Your Honor.
All
objeción,
right, Mr. Brooks?
señor
I have
Brooks?
not received anything. I'm quite sure, or I don't know if you knew, but the very second that I left. your
Dice que no ha
courtroom
recibido
Wednesday,
nada,
Your
que sí
Honor,
no
I was
sabía, pero
placed
que en el
on
momento en el que él se
suicide
fue de ahí de
watch.
la
I was told
corte,
that it was per jail administration.
fue a hacer algunas cosas
That it was
administrativas.
policy. It was nothing I could do about it. They immediately took me right from court, stripped my cell. I talked to mental health. They changed me right over into the SMOC. And I was basically placed on that. They just gave me regular clothes, maybe
Que apenas le dieron ropa
10
regular
minutes before I came to your courtroom, Your Honor. So I haven't,
hoy antes de entrar al
I
cuarto.
wasn't
printed it
allowed
off. We'll give
email.
it to you.
huh?
I had the letter printed off and we'll give it to you now so you can take a moment to review it. It really says everything that I just put on.
Que le van a volver a dar la carta, que no se apure, que
I accept for value and return for value this document.
I would just note there's a typo in your name, but so my apologies for that. Middle initials indicated wrong. But it does reference this case number.
When was this letter? Because like I said, I've been on watch, so I haven't been able to obtain any mail whatsoever.
dice que él no
Not-
ha tenido la
not
oportunidad de
of course,
recibir
not
ningún
personal
correo,
mail,
ningún
not-
mail,
not
nada,
anything.
que él ha estado pues alejado y que
That
sí,
was signed on Friday.
que
and
fue
then
firmada
sent
el
over.
viernes.
I'm not sure if it was emailed or
Dice,
if
no
it
me
was
acuerdo
just
si fue
delivered to the jail. I don't know if Madam
de,
Clerk has
enviada a la
any information.
cárcel o
It was done by my
email,
other clerk,
pero
but in any event, you have it before you. What I can tell you, sir, is that normally search warrants may be sealed for a period of time. All of these warrants were set to be unsealed previously, but due to the pretrial publicity and the
que normalmente esos documentos
various
vienen
orders
sellados.
related to the jury, including the use of the jury questionnaire, I had, at the request of the parties and with the consent of all parties, sealed or continued the seal on all of these documents, and the previous order indicated that everything would be unsealed either November 30th or at the conclusion of the jury trial, whichever
Que de
came
aquí en
first.
adelante
Of
las
course, the
cosas
jury
no
trial
van a
is
estar
now
selladas, se
concluded,
las van a
even though
mandar, pero
the case
fue,
hasn't gone to
que fue una
sentencing.
solicitud,
So
creo,
my
de
intent
la
would be
PARI
to
de los
unseal
otros
everything,
abogados.
tomorrow. unless you have an objection and it's based in law.
Dice, al menos que usted tenga alguna objeción que esté basada en la ley.
Like you said, this is my. I didn't even know that this was even sent over to the jail until right
Dice,
now.
yo ni
until you
siquiera
told
sé
me.
si esto fue enviado a la
Do you have an
cárcel o a
objection
dónde.
to what I propose to do so?
I don't even understand. What do you mean by sealed and unsealed? I
Dice,
don't.
It
no
would
entiendo cuando
become
usted
a
dice
matter of
que
the public
sellado o no
record, and
sellado.
anyone could review those search warrants if they make a request.
Search warrants for what property?
There's a number of search warrants that have been sealed as it relates to this case.
From what I saw, everything's been pretty much public.
Que pues en lo que él ha visto todo ha sido realmente
I don't see
público.
why they need to be unsealed at this point. Everything's pretty much been public already.
All right, well, I am going to unseal them effective tomorrow. The clerk's office is instructed that first thing tomorrow morning, they may unseal all of the search warrants in this case.
Que mañana
The
va a
next
pedir
issue
ella
I
pues,
wanna
pues que
address
no lo que
is,
como que no
I
guarden la
want to make
secrecía
a
o
record
los sellos.
specifically as it relates to the restraints that the sheriff's department utilized during this case, given a comment made by Mr. Brooks when the jury was coming out the very last time. I don't recall if you said something about a stun belt or shackles or something to that effect, but it was inaccurate. I have asked the sheriff's department to provide photographic documentation of the shackles that were utilized in this case. The parties will recall, the tables look a little different now because there are no table skirts on them.
Pues ella dice que
On
también
all
le está
defense
explicando
tables
algunas
in
cosas que
these
ya le dije en la
secure
mañana
courtrooms,
también,
there
que las
is
mesas
a
han sido movidas,
ring.
ha sido
It's
como
really
removido
more
por el
looks like a
tipo ahora
rectangle that
es
is attached to
rectángulo
the
que
leg of
está.
the table, and an inmate who's in custody but in trial, a soft restraint system is utilized, primarily so it's soft and not heard. And
Déjenme
then
ver
it's
si está
attached
repitiendo
to
lo que
the
vimos en la
table so
mañana,
that
nada más
it
déjenme checar.
confines the inmate to
No entiendo.
a small area with that table. Obviously, during the trial, Mr. Brooks was
Creo
able
que
to
sí.
stand.
Se está
His
repitiendo,
hands
ya
were
decía yo
free,
eso, ya lo
but I
escuché
felt
en
it
la mañana.
important to have a thorough record of the restraints that were utilized. The photographs that have been provided are on a compact disc. They will be filed as Court Exhibit 3, but they will remain under seal. And that is because of the security concerns related
Sí,
to how
se
the
está
sheriff's
repitiendo,
department
señoras y señores. Entonces
um,
quiere decir que no
secures inmates during the
están
trial.
más
That
en
certainly
vivo.
is an
Terminó,
overriding interest,
entonces
overriding any
yo les voy a
public
estar
interest
informando
to see
así.
what those
Terminó.
restraints
No sé
are.
por qué se repitió.
And I would just
Pero
further
bueno,
note that
cualquier cosa yo
during the
les voy a
trial,
estar
when Mr.
informando, no
Brooks
se
would
preocupen
be
aquí
brought
conmigo, ya
from
saben
the
que tienen
holding
toda la
area
información.
into
Nos
the
vemos, yo creo que a
courtroom,
ver si
his
mañana,
courtroom
cuando
was
termine
closed
todo
to the
esto,
public.
yo les termino de
And
decir,
that
¿ok?
was
Porque si
really
ahorita es lo
to
mismo que vimos en la
maintain that,
mañana, se repitió, no sé por qué.
privacy
Pero pues nada,
or
muchísimas gracias por haberse
secrecy
conectado, por
below
haberme
the
dejado su
restraint
like.
system,
Las
and
quiero,
I
los
believe it's
quiero.
important
Recuerden que en la noche vamos a rezar el rosario en en el canal, así que por favor no se les olvide que rezamos el rosario y tenemos también pues información. Nos vemos esta noche. Bye bye.
Well,
Hasta
with that-
pronto.
It's very clear on the restraint system that was utilized during this